Hey, what's up, guys? Rep here. So it's another glorious day where I went to Twitter so you didn't have to. And once again, we're rounding up a bunch of bad tweets so we can point and laugh at the people making them, because today we have another round of tweets where people are crying about anime and anime related things. Now we're going to start with this absolute banger right here. It's talking about the Nier Automata franchise. It's made by an account that is clearly a fan of the franchise, and it says, "It's just my opinion. Don't hate me, please." And attached is a picture of 2B, and the caption says, "I hate how much she gets sexualized." I got nothing, ladies and gentlemen. How do you consume this franchise while saying something like that? It would pretty much be agony every second you're playing Nier Automata. But anyways, it's like going to McDonald's and being surprised that they're selling you burgers. Like, everyone knows what you're here for. And it reminds me a bit of a lot of people on Twitter who claim they're fans of ecchi series like My Dress Up Darling, for example, while also claiming to hate fan service. It's like, with this tweet we just looked at, like, how could you consume these products without being in misery if you hate these characters being sexualized? Because it's happening non-stop. You would be annoyed every second you're consuming this stuff. And remember, this is the 2B we're talking about. This isn't some random piece of art. This is the actual design. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, or in the coding, I guess, because there is 300,000 plus polygons of robot ass dedicated to 2B. There's more polygons in this right here than there is the entirety of Minecraft, okay? Clearly this was the intent of the creators, and it becomes even more clear when you have people like this sharing tweets made by 2B's creator, and I think it's definitely worth looking at because Yoko Taro is pretty based. So back in 2017, a lot of people were talking about the fan service, and the usual suspects even back then were complaining about her ass being too big and things like that. So the creator responds saying, "Due to 2B's butt controversy, many outrageous drawings are being uploaded, but collecting and passing them around is a pain, so it would be great if someone could zip them all up and distribute them every week." And then in a follow-up tweet shortly after that, he says, "When I wrote that I wanted people to gather up the 2B images and put them in a zip file for me, the tweet got exposure all over the place. Now people are actually doing it. The internet is amazing." Absolutely based. 2017 was a much simpler time, and more creators of characters should have this attitude. But in the replies, we'd see this interaction. So a user said, "I think the same. The sexualization of 2B is too exaggerated." False. That is objectively false, by the way. But carrying on, the original poster would reply to that saying, "I understand that Yoko Taro even asked to be sent that 2B content. I respect that. But for me, it's like a barrier that prevents you from seeing her tragic story." Guys, like, I get, like, her model is attractive and there's fan service and things like that, but, like, is it, like, hypnotic to the point where you can't even, like, comprehend anything happening in the story? Like, I think two things can exist at once, right? You can appreciate the design of 2B's character while also paying attention to and appreciating the story that surrounds her. I think that's very possible to do. And I saw this tweet in one of the replies, and I think it sums it up very well. It says, "People will genuinely come on here and say everything around me has to be objectively ugly, or I will compulsively and then get mad when you don't let them project that onto you." I mean, seriously, that is how Twitter is acting. Like, really? You have to make something just completely bland and ugly, otherwise you won't be able to focus on the plot? I think that's a bit of a you problem at that point. But moving on, I want to talk about one other thing today, and it's a potential leak from some upcoming One Piece manga sections, okay? And a lot of people are upset about this because in that, it is confirmed, allegedly, that the character Bonnie is 12 years old. Now, this is a personal 9/11 for a lot of One Piece fans, in particular tourists of the medium, who are having an existential crisis, okay? So it's kind of like you reap what you sow. It's kind of like with the Pro ZD situation where you set up standards for others and then eventually it's used against you. That's how this whole thing with age of fictional characters works, okay? So these people have routinely gone around slandering and harassing other people over fictional characters, and eventually something goofy happens with the ages of a fictional character because it can be changed at any time. It's not like how real life ages work. And then it backfires on them. So you have a lot of people who have been simping for this character and sexualizing her, and now they're sitting there like, oh no, I'm a hypocrite by my own standards because I was attacking other people over similar things. And you can see people saying things like this with examples of the panel saying Oda is finished. Finished from what? What is he finished? Like, is his career going to be over? Is he going to be shunned? He's going to go to jail or something? This literally changes nothing. Like, if this makes you uncomfortable, fine, but you were consuming all this stuff without blinking an eye. That's why the ages of fictional characters is a strange thing to get so pressed about because it doesn't function like real life. And you can see an example here. It just changed. And everyone's now shocked and dealing with the results. That's why you don't go around calling people pedos over fictional content where real life concepts don't apply the same way. You have people like this saying 85% of One Piece readers are now registered pedophiles. Is that how this works? Do you really think this is how this works? And I'd like to say these are jokes, but we know Twitter. These aren't jokes. And oh, look at this. Hold on. Let me bring my knee over here so I can give it a good slap. Another knee slapper Epstein joke. Okay, so once again, I'm sorry to beat this to death, but seeing these types of tweets made hundreds of times every single day where something like manga is being compared to Jeffrey Epstein, the man who ran an entire island dedicated to sex trafficking children, that is an unbelievably ridiculous comparison, and the joke is so old at this point. How does anyone find this funny? Like, it seems like with the amount of attention they paid to Jeffrey Epstein, it's like they have an infatuation with the guy. Like, they always are thinking about him. It's very strange to me. But moving on, we have an interesting tweet coming from a pretty popular artist here. So it says, Oda waiting until the very end of the manga to add weird pedo stuff is one of the most insane self-sabotage things I've ever seen. Of course, this is the manga industry, so obviously no one will care. Now, normally when I see regular Twitter users making these sorts of slanderous, ridiculous tweets, it's like, oh, whatever, they're dumb. But like seeing this stuff from an artist is always worse because anyone out there, like an artist, should definitely understand that this is fictional work and that slandering people over this stuff is not okay. And limiting artistic freedom is not okay, even if you find it personally distasteful. And as always, I think you understand where this is going. Your likes are public, so let's scan this artist for their public Twitter likes. Now, I grabbed a safer work one here because I just don't want to look at this stuff, but here's some furry stuff. Here's some lolicon stuff. And here's some underage characters being sexualized. Ding, ding, ding. You hit the trifecta of hypocritical things to be contained in likes of someone who is calling people pedos over drawings. And no, I think this is a very serious statement this artist is making. I don't take these things lightly. You're insinuating that Oda is a pedo because of this. And you see people making threats as well, and you can see how disingenuous all this is. My hired assassin, the second Oda drops the final chapter. So you will be reading still. So you think there's something wrong, but you're still going to read. Yeah, well, the majority of people are still going to read, despite complaining about this stuff on Twitter. But I think right here is the perfect example of not just how disingenuous a lot of these people are, but also how uninformed they are. So if you want a real reason to hate Oda, it has nothing to do with manga panels. It has to do with what this user is pointing out. So their tweet says, all the people suddenly mad at Oda about her age never cared that Oda is openly friends, known since at least 2018, with a convicted pedophile, Nobuhiro Watsuki, and there are clowns, and this perfectly encapsulates how wringing hands over character ages has always been performative BS. And yes, that section about Oda and his association with Nobuhiro Watsuki is real. That is a legitimate reason to dislike Oda based on real life events. And no, what Watsuki got caught and convicted with was nothing to do with fictional content. It was CP featuring real life victims. And Oda still associates with this person. Want to be mad at him for that? Perfectly acceptable. Want to be mad at him for drawings but not this? You're just being ridiculous or you're uninformed. But that's going to do it for this video. Some more ridiculous hijinks going on twitter.com. Nothing new there, but yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Please share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.